Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. It has multiple updates. It's been going since August 2025 up until this month, June 28, 2026. So if you do want to skip certain parts of it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. Let's crack on with it. Much love, guys. The story is titled, Am I the Arsehole Here for not wanting to buy a house 3 hours away from my workplace? I don't know how to start this. I, 27 female, have been with my fiance, 28 male, for 5 years. We've just recently saved enough for a deposit on a house and he's found this cottage in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours away from where we currently live. The thing is, I already work an hour away. I'm a nursery practitioner and I love my workplace. I've been there since I was 20 and I've worked my way up to a room lead position. Living 3 hours away from my job would not be ideal, but my fiance won't budge on this house. He says it's perfect, within our budget, and quirky enough to fit our taste in home style. I've tried to communicate with him about this issue multiple times, bringing up the fact there's not even any nurseries in that area that are looking for staff, and I don't want to find another job that's a bit further out and start from the bottom again. He says it'll all work out if I stop overthinking it, and I've been at my current job for so long that it would be nice for me to get a fresh start. Another issue is that I want children. They've always been a huge deal breaker for me, and I don't think it'd be such a good idea to live so remotely when it comes to children, as we have to get them to and from school or nursery before and after work every day. The nearest school or nursery is a 30-minute drive away from the house he wants, and we both start to work fairly early and finish quite late. It will also be an issue of their freedom as they grow up, because I think it'd be horrible to have to rely on your parents for transportation all the time, and have to skip out on plans if they can't drive you. He really thinks I'm being dramatic about this and I'll just figure it out. So am I the arsehole here for not wanting to move so far away from my job and basically all civilization? It's the fact that he kept saying in this that basically you'll figure it out. It really rubbed me the wrong way, because I think it's easy to be relaxed about someone else's career, someone else's commute and someone else's sacrifices when you're not the one making them, right? I thought OP was asking completely reasonable questions like, how do I get to work? What happens if we have children? Where do they go to school? And what if I can't find another job? Totally legit questions. It's basically a 2 yeses or 1 no situation, because buying a house is one of the biggest decisions you're going to make as a couple. And if one person has serious issues with it, that should be enough to at least stop and talk about it again, not try and railroad them into it. But a commenter says to OP, not the arsehole, you two are not on the same page. You need to sort that out before you get married. OP says I'm desperately trying to sort it out. I'm considering telling him that I will end the engagement if he continues to be unreasonable and doesn't consider my feelings on the matter. Commenter says, not the arsehole. You all didn't talk about where you wanted to live. You should both have discussed where exactly you wanted a home. You didn't have to move where you don't want to live. Opie says, we did discuss it. We both want a nice cottage that's out of the way of lots of people, but there's options near us, and even more options that are actually closer to my job, that also still have access to regular buses. There's even a few up for sale in a town with a train station a reasonable walk away. I don't know why he's suddenly so set on this house that's so far out when we have plenty of options available to us that won't move us hours away. A commenter says, not the arsehole. If you have joined the funds, immediately remove your contributions from the account and safeguard the money. He absolutely will use all of it to buy the cottage. His plan is to isolate you and keep you away from your network of people. Ooh. Opie says, luckily, I control our finances because I'm better with numbers, so I've already transferred my half of the savings into a different account. He won't even notice. He's usually very sweet and considerate, so I'm not sure what's gotten into him about this house. He loves my family, and we have the same friend group as we've known each other since high school, so I don't think he's trying to isolate me. The commenter says, is the house also 3 hours away from his workplace, or does he work from home? Opie says he works in tech and he does go physically to work, but has the opportunity to work from home if he wants to. He says because it's worked out for him, it'll work out for me too, and I can always just find another job in nursery. But I don't think he gets quite how difficult it is to find a genuinely good job in a great nursery that doesn't have a toxic environment and crazy high staff turnover. Commenter says, who exactly is the we who received the money for the deposit? Who did the money come from? If it came from somebody in his family, he's probably being very proprietary about how the money is spent. That isn't a partnership, and this kind of thinking will spill over into other areas of their life. If the money came from someone in your family, or if it is somehow attached to your career, like a bonus, then he is a dictator who will force his ideas on you time and again. Buying a house is a partnership. He would expect you to help pay your portion of the mortgage and the upkeep, but you don't get a say in where the house is located. Is that what you want? Not the arsehole. And Opie says, we've been saving for a while. Nobody gave us any money. I was already saving before we got together. So was he. And after a couple of years together, we decided to pool our house savings for our future, which I now realize was probably a really dumb idea because we aren't married. I've actually put more in than him despite spending less, and I'm happy to live a frugal lifestyle, while he likes holidays and expensive cars, etc. Opie then corrects herself and says, despite earning less. Sorry, I'm completely exhausted. So it was a couple of days later that Opie came in with her update and says, I wasn't expecting to be able to update this fast, but here we are. First off, I want to thank everyone that commented on my last post and also add some context as I realized my last post may have been lacking some. Fiance and I have been together for 5 years, but I've known him for 12 years. And in all the time I've known him, and especially since we got together, he's always been sweet, taking my feelings into consideration and hasn't actively ignored my opinion like this. It's always been a 2 yes, 1 no situation in decisions before this. We had a good relationship otherwise. We had date nights once a fortnight, we enjoyed each other's company, had aligning plans for the future and the same ideals for a relationship. He'd watched me go through a few quite bad relationships over the few years before we got together, and did his best to be the opposite of my exes. Though he's always been quite pushy when it comes to sexual intimacy, so I guess that's an issue. But other than that, it was great, and we actually had a lot of talks about what we wanted in a house. We had agreed that we wanted a house or cottage, either the same distance away or closer to my work. A bit more remote, but still with a town or city easily accessible by public transport and car. I'm not sure why he suddenly switched to wanting a house so far out from everything and everyone we both know. We live in the UK, and a 2-hour drive can have you in basically a whole other world. Anyway, the actual update. Had annual leave from work yesterday, and my now ex-fiance was having a work from home day, something he's been doing more and more frequently as of late. This is another reason he is so okay with the house he wants being where it is, because he can just switch to full-time work from home. In the morning I sat down with him and tried to bring up the house. I laid out my points from my last post yet again and told him I am under no circumstances leaving my job. I love it and I do not want to search for another. I brought up the countless other houses that fit our criteria that are in our area and closer to my work, some of which we have viewed. We haven't viewed the place he wants yet as we haven't had the time, and I told him I do not want to as I already know it's not what I want. I also asked him if he really thinks it'd be okay for me to have a 6-hour round commute every day, especially considering my shift starts at 8 AM, so I would have to leave by 5 AM every morning and be up by around 4 AM. My shifts typically finish at 5:30 PM, so I wouldn't even be back home until 8:30 PM. Would he be okay with doing all the childcare in the future, housework and just everything that needed to be done because I would not be home for any of it? He didn't seem to take any of it to heart, and still insisted I could find another job, maybe one not even in childcare, and that's what finally pushed me over the edge. Childcare has been my dream since I was a little girl, and I managed to find an absolute dream of a workplace that I know many childcare practitioners would kill to work for. How could I possibly leave all that behind when I've worked so hard for it? He told me he's set on this house, so I either accept it or I leave. I chose leave. I gave his ring back and told him we're done, that he's not being the sweet, considerate man I fell in love with. I don't know why he can't see my side of things in this. I do not want to live a life with somebody that doesn't consider how I feel in all of this. This completely shocked him and he started begging me to rethink, that we can figure something out, but I refused and went to pack my things. I'm staying with my brother and his wife now, which is nice because they live closer to my workplace. A 30-minute drive instead of an hour, and I get to spend time with my little nieces. I'm hurting, but I also feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I do not deserve to not have my opinion valued, and he certainly did not. I guess it's onwards and upwards as they say, but I definitely won't be dating for a long time after this. Bloody hell, as soon as he said either accept the house or leave, he'd already lost, right? Ultimatums are such a dangerous game because you have to be prepared for the other person to choose the option you don't want. And clearly in this one, he thought OP was going to fold, but when she called his bluff, suddenly it became, we can figure it out. And I forgot to mention it on my first part of the post, like a 6-hour daily commute. Come on now. And then turning around to her and basically just saying, just get another job that OP's worked to build a career that they love. Just so incredibly dismissive. But we have another update in a moment, but a couple of comments. The first one says, you mentioned that the two of you have saved up enough for a down payment. If the money is in a joint account, add up how much you contributed plus interest on the amount and withdraw it fast. He says, hello. Sorry for my absence, I've been very busy. I withdrew all money that I contributed from the shared balance before I left my ex-fiance. It's all safe in my own bank account now. Commenter says, any new updates? Hope you're doing okay. Update me. Opie says, hey there. I will update at some point in the future. Life has been a lot recently. I lost my wonderful dad in September. I'm still dealing with that, but I guess it distracted from any lingering sadness I was feeling from the breakup. Thank you. So, Opie comes in after 4 months and says, reposting here because I didn't realize I could only post one update on the Am I the Arsehole sub. Hi all. Sorry I've been completely missing in action for the last few months. Life has been completely hectic, but I wanted to give an update because I saw some people asking for an update. I also saw my post being read on TikTok a few months ago by one of my favorite Reddit story accounts actually, and that was crazy. I truly did not think it would end up anywhere but Reddit. First off, I, 27 female, want to share some things about my life and how it has been since I left my ex-fiance, 28 male. Life has been up and down for me. I found a therapist and I've started to rent a small flat close to my brother's house. Still living below my means as I start to save for a house again, building upon my more than half of the savings I took when I left my ex. It was all my money. I'd saved most of it. I did not take any of the money that was his. The flat is small, but it's cozy and doesn't have any of the mess my ex always left around. I was offered a position as an assistant manager at my workplace, and while the pay rise would have been nice, I decided to turn it down as I just so love working with the children. I do not want to spend most of my time in an office. Being a room lead is fine with me. I adore my job. My workplace is still great, and I've made some really good friends with some newer staff members. I often have a couple of them over for drinks or dinner after work, as a little single ladies club. My absolutely amazing dad died suddenly and tragically in September, far too soon at 65. He was truly the most incredible man, and I've been leaning on him for a lot of support after I left my ex. He left me a sizable sum of money, and while I'm still waiting for that to come through, I'm planning to put it all into my house fund, and I'm hoping to be a homeowner by the summer of 2026. I also adopted a little tortoiseshell cat to keep me company. Her name is Lily, and she's the sweetest, cuddliest thing. I'm slowly getting back into dating. I actually made the realization that I like women, so I've been dipping my toes into going on dates with some lovely ladies, which has been great. Nothing serious, of course. I'm not ready for that yet, but it's nice to have some connection with people and explore my newfound dating pool. See what fits me best and figure out my dating boundaries. Overall, while sometimes have been tough and heartbreaking, my life has improved. On the ex front, I really did dodge a bullet. My sister has told me countless times that I let a man disrespect me for far too long. He was not the man I thought he was, and upon reflection, I realized the first red flag was how pushy he was for sex. I believe one comment on my last update called him a sex fiend. My therapist has helped me to realize that coercion was not consent, so I've been working through that. Since we split, he has apparently been posting on Instagram about being an alpha male and how any woman would be lucky to have him. According to mutual friends, he has been listening to a lot of horrible and misogynistic podcasts and spews that rhetoric to absolutely everyone he can. He'd been dating a new girl who is far from appropriately younger than him at 19. Yuck. I will never know the full logic of why he wanted me to move so far from everything I know and love, but I feel that the comments saying he wanted me to quit my job and be a stay-at-home mum were correct in their assumptions. He couldn't afford the house he wanted without my part of the savings, so he's stuck in our old flat. I had to see him once more after I left, just to get the rest of my things from our old place, and he tried to talk to me, asking if we could fix what we had, but I ignored him and simply took everything I needed before leaving and blocking him for good. He's not worth my time or energy. I think during our relationship I lost who I really was and forgot that I am a strong, independent woman. I've always been quite feisty and I've always stood up for myself, but somehow with him I lost those parts of me. They're back in full force now, and I couldn't be happier with that. I've used my found again spine to fight for what I believe in, and I've been to several marches and protests for Palestine in the last few months, screaming at the top of my lungs, holding banners and waving flags. I've advocated for children's rights, I've joined clubs and groups, and I've found my voice. Thank you all for your kind words, advice and encouragement. I don't think I would have left or stayed away if it wasn't for you all commenting. The commenter just says, 19. Poor girl. Opie says, I really want to message her and let her know what he's like, but my sister and friends have told me it would cause more problems for me. She's so young, and I'm afraid for her. So Opie comes in 6 months after the last post with one more update, and says 6 months into the year already. Wow. Thank you so much to everyone who's been so supportive on my previous posts. I, 28 female, do not have much of an update apart from, as of the 21st of May, I'm officially a homeowner. I found a perfect house that's only 15 minutes from my workplace. It may not be the out-of-the-way cottage I wanted, but it's perfect and it's all mine. I have space to just be me, and enough room for my nibblings to sleep over and give my siblings a break. On the dating front, I've been dating a wonderful woman, 30 female since late December. I realized shortly after my last update that I wasn't bisexual and I'm actually fully a lesbian. We're still taking it very slow, considering I'd just come out of a long-term relationship and she was only recently divorced when we met, but so far so good. She's absolutely amazing and I can safely say I love her. If things go well, we've talked about living together, but that won't happen until at least 2027, as I'm not quite ready for that level of commitment yet. She's helped me move in and decorate my new house though, which has been lovely as she works in interior design and seems to know exactly how to make a room look incredible. My ex broke up with a 19-year-old in April, from what I've been told, citing that she's far too immature. Like, obviously, she's 19 and you're 29, idiot. I haven't heard much else about him because I really don't care to know about his life, but from what I've heard, isn't great. On top of his stupid misogynistic stuff, he's also been on some horribly racist bullshit. I didn't mention this in my post because it didn't feel relevant, but I'm mixed. My mum is black and I'm very clearly half black. He was engaged to a woman of color and he's racist. All in all, life is good, and I escaped the man that probably never really loved me. Hope everyone has had a great year so far. Here's to better beginnings. It may not be much of an update, but I wanted to let you all know it can get so much better. Ugh, I was just left thinking after this one. I wonder how long he had been consuming that kind of content for. Was it before this went down, or did he just completely fall down the rabbit hole afterwards? But I'm so glad that OP's life just keeps getting better. You know, she kept the career that she loved and her passion for it. I think that's what everyone wants for their job, right? To be doing something that you absolutely love, and it must be so good for those kids at the same time as well. She's got her own home that's just 15 minutes from work, found someone who's actually supporting her, and probably most importantly, rediscovering herself at the same time. Because in the end, she didn't just escape this bad relationship. She's actually found her own confidence again, and I think that's the most amazing thing. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is from a user called Busted Him Now What, who says, I, 30 female, just found my fiance, 30 male, on an online dating site. What do I do? My fiance and I have been together a year and a half. We moved in with one another a few months ago. Lately has been a bit distant. I've been cheated on in the past and have been really insecure with his change in behavior. He has assured me he is just stressed about work because his car broke down a couple of weeks ago and he hasn't gotten a replacement yet. I couldn't let the nagging feeling go, so I did a little investigating. I didn't snoop in his phone or personal accounts, but I made a fake profile on a popular dating site and found him there. He was last online July 1st. I don't know what to do. How do I confront him? What do I say? Can our relationship be saved? Do I even want to save it? I feel like I'm a wreck right now. TLDR, fiance has been distant lately. I did some digging on a popular online dating site and discovered he was active within the past week. What do I do next? A commenter says, don't marry someone who is still out there dating unless you're okay with an open relationship. If you confront him, he'll say, it belongs to a friend, it was just a joke, I forgot I even had it. Test him out on the website and see if he is active, or if it really does belong to someone else. OP replied saying, I think that's what I'm going to do. I texted an old high school friend he has never seen pics of to ask if I could use hers for my profile. Commenter says, don't listen to people saying you should catfish him, that's very immature. Print out the profile and ask him to explain. His reaction will tell you what you need to know. If someone is using his photo online, I've seen this happen on Catfish, he'd be shocked and horrified. If it's actually him, 95% chance, he'd be uncomfortable, evasive, or give you a bullshit excuse. Then you can leave him. OP says, I'm 100% sure it is him. All the interests and favorite food, movies, and music, plus life aspirations match. I just don't know when he wrote the profile, not recent pics. Commenter says, chance, catfish, catfish. Honestly though, if it were me, I'd want to know for sure. If he denied it and I believed whatever he said, I would always wonder if he's actually lying and would have a hard time trusting him. Or if he denies it and I didn't believe him, I would wonder if he was actually telling the truth. Who knows when he made it? I don't know why he would check it, and he could definitely be being sketchy. I tried to make a Tinder a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to look at a funny Tinder profiles. It was too complicated because I had to actually make a profile and didn't want to do that, so I gave up. So with that in my head, I want to see if he was really using it to talk to / meet up with someone. Opie then added some edits to the post. The first one said, "Thank you everyone. Further investigating is leading me to believe that it is an older profile. The pics aren't recent and I can positively date 8 or 9 of them to before our relationship. The last I'm not sure on the date. I think that means a hacking / signing in to trying to delete the thing scenario is a little more plausible. I don't think that in itself is enough to break up over, so I guess it's time to either confront or catfish. I'll post an update thread to let you all know the outcome, whatever that may be." Opie then adds another edit that says, "Well, people here are kind of split on it, but I took the advice to catfish. I need to know for sure. We'll update when or if anything comes of it. Edit 3, kind of a major update. His profile is gone. I will be confronting him when he gets home from work. Edit 4, I posted an update thread. Spoiler alert, he wasn't creeping." So 4 days later, Opie does update the post and says, "I posted a few days ago because I found my fiance on an online dating site. I took Reddit's advice and catfished him. A few hours after I set the bait, I found that his profile had been deleted. When he came home from work, I showed him the screenshot and asked him what was up. Long story short, he was hanging out with his coworker, and the coworker was frustrated with figuring out how to navigate the same dating site. My fiance signed into his old account, opened in 2013, to try and help his friend to figure it out. Apparently a lot had changed on this particular site, and he realized that his knowledge on the site was too out of date, so he logged out and that was it. A few days later, he saw in his email that he had gotten a message from a woman on the site, and then he deleted his account. He obviously couldn't show me his dating site account, but he did volunteer to show me his email account with all the alerts from the site. The only woman that had messaged him recently was clearly my fake account. He also realized when we were looking through his email that he had an unused older profile on another dating site. He signed in and deleted that one in front of me. I fessed up about catfishing him. He wasn't upset at all. Said he understood completely considering my history. He was more upset with himself for not realizing that his behavior would make me so insecure. I apologized for not trusting him and catfishing. He apologized for being so distant lately, not deleting his dating profile ages ago. He offered an open phone, social media, and email policy between us, in case we ever stumble across another trust but verify type situation. TLDR, it was an old profile. He signed in to try and help a friend figure out the app. He saw the message from my catfishing attempt, thought they were real and deleted his profile. We talked it over, no one is mad, life is good." A commenter on the back of this one replied saying, "This is a very similar situation I had about 10 years ago. I'd gone back to university for a postgrad in another city, an hour from my girlfriend at the time. I'm living with a bunch of other postgrads and one is this autistic guy who was needing a bit of help with dating. So me and the 2 girls in the flat were showing him a few dating sites and I re-downloaded Tinder to show him how easy it was to use. My profile was still there from a couple of years ago. Thought nothing of it. Deleted the app after the demo and moved on. A day later, my girlfriend texted me asking if I still had Tinder. Her sister saw my profile and called her. I explained the situation, logged back onto Tinder, deleted my account, and that was that. For everyone but the sister. She never trusted me again." And for me, I'm not convinced catfishing was the best move here, but I'm glad it did work out in the end. But now, I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. It's quite amazing the amount of people that had similar situations down in the comments below that. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.